Thank you so much for being here. I'm going to take 1 second to address the elephant in the room before we get started. My wife gave me a hard time about this when I left. This is sky blue. It is sky blue. I know where I am. I'm self-aware in that, so I appreciate your patience with me. Thank you all so much for being here. My name is Jeremy Wall, and it is an honor to be back for Pitch to the Pack 2026. Before we get started, can I get a little energy for everyone here in the room? Thank you. So I myself am a Wilson College of Textiles alumni, class of 2015 in the Fashion Textile Management program. I'll tell a little bit more about my story here in a second, but before we get into it, I just want to say thank you. Thank you to all the incredible people who made this this incredible event possible, the tech support, everyone online. Thank you to those watching us from home as well. But specifically, this is the Pitch to the Pack Wells Fargo Textile Entrepreneurship Pitch event hosted by the Wilson College of Textiles and generously made possible by the fantastic team at Wells Fargo. Pitch to the Pack supports textile-focused entrepreneurs driving innovation in North Carolina's textile ecosystem and industry through cutting-edge technology, sustainability, and consumer-focused products. There we are. I'll find my group here in a second. And so, this year, 44 entrepreneurs registered and underwent a training process that included preparing of their pitches, practicing, and got to the preliminary round. We had a fantastic group of preliminary judges who reviewed all of the pitches, narrowing it to our final 10 who are here with us today. All of our groups have received mentorship, guidance, and support, both in their business plans and pitches throughout the past few weeks and months. And I would also like to say thank you to all of our preliminary judges, some of which are with us in the room, some cannot be here today. And we also have fantastic judges today sitting here at the front of the room. You will hear from them on their Q&A throughout our sessions today. For all of our judges and all the support teams getting us today, quick round of applause. Thank you. So, most of our groups have in some way refined their prototypes at the W. Duke Kimbrell Flex Factory, an incredible part of the Wilson College that I myself have been delighted to see grow and advance over the past few years. Today, our finalists will present their pitches in a 5-minute presentation. It will be followed by a Q&A from our judges for another 5 minutes. And at the end, we will have awards. We have awards ranging from $1,000 to $10,000. In that process, the 2 eligible teams, so there's some eligibility pieces there, the top 2 eligible teams will receive a spot in the NC State Andrews Accelerator, which is valued at $10,000 and really helps entrepreneurs take their ventures to the next level. Additionally, the highest ranked team that is eligible and local to the RDU area will receive a first-class co-working membership at the First Flight Venture Center, valued at $2,500, giving them a workspace and access to the startup resources that they need to continue to grow. So, with that, everyone should have a booklet. It came when you came in the door. There's a pen at your table as well. Those will come in handy as we get into it, because today everyone is a judge. We need your participation. Those in the room, those watching at home, whichever camera I need to make eye contact with, thank you, because today you will have Audience Participation Choice Awards as well. It's a little off on my screen here, but that participation will vote for Best Community Impact, Best Presenter, Most Innovative, Most Practical, and Most Sustainable. So as you go through today's pitches, make notes, think about it. These are our 5. They're also listed in your booklet. So if you think about anything like, oh, that's a fantastic idea, I really think about the practicality of that, make a little star in your booklet, because we will vote everyone at the end, and this is how our audience voting will go. So, again, for those online, you will have a digital booklet as well, and you should have a QR code in there, in your booklet and the digital booklet, as well as we'll pop it on the screen here in a second, now and later when we get to the voting part. But use your QR code, because that is how we select our finalists. While we have fantastic judges here in the front, everyone is part of that process. Additionally, we have angel investor cards. So for those in the room interested in learning more about all of these fantastic pitches, you will see a red envelope with a contact card there on your table. Grab that, put in your contact info, and the team at the end of the day will collect all of those and distribute them to the teams. So we really encourage this to be sort of a connection, networking piece, even if you can't jump in and ask questions while they're presenting today. So if you have any goals of connecting with folks, we encourage you to do so. And with that said, none of this would be possible without Wells Fargo's vision. Thank you to their belief in the Wilson College of Textiles, the Wolfpack, and their investment in this event. We appreciate you being with us. We appreciate all that you've done to lead up to today. So if you're a Wells Fargo employee or representative, would you please stand for a second, and we'll give you a quick round of applause. Thank you. With that, I would like to invite Dean Hinks, Chancellor Howell, and Clarence McDonald to join me on stage for some opening remarks. Come on up. While they're making their way up here, it's my honor to introduce our first speaker, Dean David Hinks, the Dean of the Wilson College of Textiles and Distinguished Professor, Cone Mill's Distinguished Professor of Textile Chemistry. Thank you, Dean Hinks.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone. I am so excited to be here. Thank you, everybody, for being here today. I hope you have a good experience and meet some new people and learn some new things from our incredible entrepreneurs that we're going to hear from earlier. First off, who was here last year, if you raise your hand? Oh, a bunch of you, about half of you or more. It was a great experience, wasn't it? And my mind now goes back to a year ago when the beginning of the event, I had no idea what was going to happen. Actually, none of us had any idea of what was going to happen, did we? And it was just an amazing experience, and I can tell you that the finalists have really done some amazing things that I've understood and learned from over the last year, and some of them are in the room today. So anybody that's a finalist, could you please raise your hand as well from last year? From last year. Yeah, very cool. Welcome back. Congratulations. Feels different, right, this time? I'm sure it feels different, yeah. Well, thank you, and thank you, Jeremy. I'm so very excited, as I mentioned. Wilson College is a global leader in textile innovation, education, and research, and service to the industry. The industry in the United States, it's the strongest in North Carolina. Within a 3-hour drive, you can hit half of the manufacturing of U.S. textiles within a 3-hour drive of Charlotte. So this is really the epicenter, and it's why we exist as a Wilson College of Textiles. And we have a more than 125-year history in supporting textile innovation and education. So we're a real driver, but one of the things that I've noticed over the last 10 years at least is the entrepreneurship that's bubbling up across NC State, not just in the Wilson College, but in textiles around the university. It's really remarkable. And that was the impetus for thinking about the Kimbrel Flex Factory to build spaces in the college that allows entrepreneurs to have their first prototypes manufactured. And that led to a conversation about what became Pitch to the Pack, of being able to allow entrepreneurs to pitch their ideas in front of some esteemed judges and really help them along the way with mentorship, etc. So big thank you to the Wells Fargo team. Thank you for your trust in us. It's wonderful to have you back again, and I hope it surpasses your expectations. It's really important to us to bring value to every single partner of ours. And a big thank you to all of the Textile Foundation board members that are here today. If you'll raise your hand if you're on the North Carolina Textile Foundation board, please. Thank you for being here. We really appreciate you. Thank you. And the NCTF team, the staff team led by Michael Ward, if you'll raise your hand if you're in the room as well, please. You do a fantastic job for us. And that led us to connection through our good friend here. We really appreciate all your support for us. It's really been fantastic. So here we go with the program. I just want to say I can't wait to see what happens. It's going to be really an incredible experience. But I next want to introduce our key speaker, who's the 15th Chancellor of North Carolina State University. I've been here for over 30 years. I've never been more excited than this moment of what's in store for NC State. Chancellor Howell is lifting up the university in incredible ways and is inspiring all the deans and all of the engagement in the community at NC State. And we're so excited to have you, Chancellor. So will you come and please say a few words?
Thank you. Yes, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Let's do it again. I've been sitting at a board of trustees meeting Board of Visitors meeting all day. Had a great meeting and delighted to be with all of you today. Thank you, Dean Hinks, for your outstanding leadership for the College of Textiles. Please join me in thanking the Dean for what he does for this college and for our university. I can actually say that, and the reason I can say that is that I've had a daughter that came through this college just a few years ago, graduated from this college, and thanks to many folks at this table, like Andy and others, and the dean in this college, and the great faculty members of this college, she's an entrepreneur in Atlanta, designing and selling her clothes. I couldn't see the vision oftentimes, but what they do at the Wilson College of Textiles is amazing. I can't wait to continue to see how my daughter lives out her dreams. But this is the second annual Wells Fargo Pitch to the PAC Textile Entrepreneur event here at our university. Innovation and entrepreneurship, it's the cornerstone of what it means when we say those magic words of think and do. That's right. Innovation and entrepreneurship, they're the cornerstone of what it means when we say think and do. To brag a little bit about ourselves, as you know, as chancellor, that's my job, to brag about what we do great at this university. Did you know that we're ranked #1 in active commercialization agreements? To date, NC State is responsible for more than 2,500 patents, 5,000 invention disclosures, and 650 products on the market. Now, the reason is it's not a coincidence. It's because of what happens in our colleges, but more importantly, when you have great leadership as a dean, when you have a great board, when you have great faculty and wonderful students. Entrepreneurs come out of this university every single day. None of these amazing accomplishments wouldn't be possible without everyone in this room, without your support. And I want to recognize the partnership that brings events like this today to fruition. I want to recognize Wells Fargo Foundation for sponsoring this event and bringing it to life. Let's give them another round of applause as well. And the reason I do that, when you're part of a bank, you know how many requests they receive to sponsor something? You can imagine. But for this bank, Wells Fargo, to take the time to invest in our students and to invest in our university is pretty special, and we thank you for that. Secondly, the Kimbrell Foundation for their generous support of the W. Duke Kimbrell Flex Factory. You've heard Dean Hinks mention that. Space for allowing entrepreneurship to take place and to help launch the initial idea to pitch to the PAC. And so let's give them a round of applause as well, the Kimbrell Foundation. And finally, you heard me mention my good friend Andy Albright. Many of you may know that Andy is a key part of the story of entrepreneurship here at NC State. I never will forget, years ago, you like the way I said that, years ago, as we age, Andy, the partnership brought together the Albright Entrepreneurship Garage. And way back then, I was happy to be a part of that celebration and the Albright Entrepreneurship Village, where entrepreneurs could just come together and talk together and to come up and think and do about great ideas. And so, Andy, I want you to know that idea that you did a few years back, today led us to this moment and all of the other entrepreneurship that happens on our campus. So please join me in thanking Andy Albright for his foresight and his vision and leadership here at NC State University. And finally, I want to thank the judges that are with us today. Truth of the matter is, I would hate to be in your seats today. I actually mean that. Man, these students are outstanding. And the pitches you will hear today, whew, that's a tough road there, but that's why you're the judges. And so we thank you for your strong leadership for being with us today. Please join me in thanking them as well. So this is just a few examples of how the support that we receive for our land-grant university. Yes, it is true. We receive funding from the state legislature. Yes, it is also true. We receive funding from the federal government. But we still can't do it alone without the support of those that I've recognized and so many in the room that I have not recognized. And I just wanted to thank you for the work that you do. New businesses. You've said, as I said all along as being chancellor of our university, two things I'll leave you with. One, it is about our students. It's about students first. And the reason for that is because when we look and pass this knowledge down and what our professors are teaching them in the Wilson College of Textiles, we're passing it down to the baton to that next generation. To take that baton and run with it is our way of simply saying, how do we make North Carolina even better? How do we make our nation even better through our students? But the second thing that I enjoy more than anything is saying that we are, without a doubt, the people's university. We're going through the process of admissions right now. The GPA, our average weighted GPA is 4.3, 3.9 for normal GPA. I know what you're thinking. Some of us wouldn't be here at the university if it, I hear you. But that's our next generation of leaders that's coming. And so I close by saying this. I wish all of our finalists success in this entrepreneurial journey. And congratulations, really, for making the stage today. With that being said, it's my pleasure to welcome our final speaker, Clarence McDonald, Commercial Banking Market Executive at Wells Fargo in the Piedmont Triad in Western North Carolina, representing the Wells Fargo Foundation. Please join me.
Good afternoon. I'm excited to be here with y'all for this year's edition of the Pitch to the Pack. As the Chancellor said, I serve as market executive in the Piedmont Triad in Western North Carolina, and those are markets with deep roots in textiles. Possibly more importantly, I'm the proud parent of an NC State senior, although she's in the College of Humanities and Social Sciences, but I'm sure y'all gonna get her on a good track. And then I'm the spouse of an NC State graduate. On behalf of Wells Fargo, thank you to the Wilson College of Textiles for hosting us and for bringing together such an impressive group of entrepreneurs, students, faculty, and partners. I think there's a very natural alignment between Wells Fargo, North Carolina, and the textile industry. Textiles is clearly a part of this state's DNA. For generations, textile manufacturing helped build North Carolina's economy, supporting families, communities, and entire towns across the Piedmont and beyond. That legacy matters. And what's especially compelling is how that foundation continues to evolve through innovation and entrepreneurship. The Wilson College of Textiles is consistently recognized as one of the leading textile programs in the world. When we think about where the future of textiles is being shaped, this campus is often and almost always part of that conversation. That's why Wells Fargo is proud to support the Wilson College of Textiles and Pitch to the Pack once again. We were truly blown away by last year's pitches and inspired by the creativity and discipline of the participants. The opportunity to align again and to help support a platform where ideas can be explored and developed was an easy decision for us. At Wells Fargo, we're committed to contributing to a strong economy built on thriving communities. We focus our philanthropic efforts on housing, access and affordability, small business growth, and financial opportunity. Through partnerships like this one, we look for ways to bring the breadth of our resources and expertise to help support innovation and long-term economic resilience. In North Carolina alone, our philanthropic giving and employee volunteerism reflect that focus on helping communities grow and adapt. Textiles today is incredibly important. They're solving challenges in healthcare, sustainability, infrastructure, and even disaster response. Right here in North Carolina, textile innovation is helping support efforts related to supply chain resilience and public health needs. Wonderful local companies are doing important work in those areas, and Wells Fargo is proud to support the industry through long-standing client relationships and by supporting the next wave of innovators coming out of NC State. Looking ahead, partnerships like this one between Wells Fargo and the Wilson College of Textiles and the entrepreneurs in this room highlight how North Carolina continues to build on a strong legacy while preparing for the next one. Thank you again to the Wilson College of Textiles for the opportunity to be a part of this event, and special thanks to today's judges. We're honored to support Pitch the Pack and excited to see the ideas and businesses that will emerge from today's presentations. Thank you, and go Pack.
Clarence, thank you so much. Before we jump into our first pitches, I would invite all three of our fantastic guests to just come for a quick picture.
Thank you.
Thank you. Chancellor Howell, we all know you're a busy man, so we appreciate you being here with us today. While we do the photo ops, I will tell a quick personal story. So I myself graduated from the Wilson College of Textiles 2015, as mentioned. My senior project, as many of you know, the Fashion Textile Management program puts on the Threads Show. It was 5 of my best friends and one of his ex-girlfriends, and we had a fashion show that was my first foray. It was at that time just a fun experiment of putting lights on clothes and speakers and wearable tech. That company that I spent an entire year building turned into a business. That business took me to California. I grew that company for 7 years before returning back home after that company exited. So I personally am a full attestation of all of the incredible work that the Wilson College does. So I just want to say thank you to the entire community. It truly takes a pack for us to be able to build incredible programs like this. And with that, And with that, what we've all been waiting for, I'm excited to introduce our first company. We have Nicelle Technologies with Erica Ford and Cheryl Wooten. Our first team tonight is working on advanced materials that power everything from clothing to high-performance composites. If you've ever wondered how something like carbon fiber actually gets made, pay attention. They're about to make it even more interesting than you could imagine.
Hello, we are Nicelle Technologies, a materials innovator. Over the course of this journey, we have spoken to various stakeholders throughout the textile fiber supply chain. And interestingly, it doesn't matter if they are representing the textile mill or if they are a consumer. There is a concern about how these materials are made and what is in them. Just raise your hand if you've ever had a thought or a thought of a concern about what is in the fibers or the plastics that you use every day. So that makes my point. Not only that, but how they are made and what's in them is also affecting our supply chain. And for that reason, there are performance fibers that are not made in America, but rather they have to be imported. This leads to high minimum orders and tariffs and even scarcity of much needed materials. But we have a solution. And that solution is the acryl flow process. So through funding from the National Science Foundation's Innovation Corps, we have been able to survey people from various industries. We attended the NeoCon conference where performance meets beauty for the architectural textile space. This is our prime target for short staple fibers where they need performance and beauty as well. We've also went to the CAMEX conference. This is where the composites world come together. We foresee using our longer filament fibers as precursors to what is called carbon fiber. Carbon fiber can be used in bicycles, golf clubs, and also luxury vehicles. Now, another market that we're looking into is the use of longer fibers that can be used in synthetic braiding hair. There are communities of Black women that are concerned about the composition of these fibers, and we believe that we have a solution for them, giving performance and the aesthetics they're looking for. So this is our process that all began with the Chancellor Innovation Fund. We started off making filaments from just a few grams of material, and then later on made multi-filaments from several pounds. Now, with funding from the North Carolina Innovation Fund, we will be able to make hundreds of pounds of these resins, which I have placed on the judges' table, and make hundreds of pounds of fibers right here in the state of North Carolina, positioning us to sell product by the year of 2027. So who's interested? Through our partnerships from the NC Innovation Fund, we have identified a textile mill who in the US who is thrilled at the prospect of a domestic option for acrylic fiber. Also, we're working with another company, and they want to use our filaments as precursors to carbon fiber, seeing it as a plus for reducing the CO2 content used to make carbon fiber. So this is our go-to-market strategy. In a few years, we'll be able to make tons of fibers to meet the needs of textile mills. We are going to make both short staple fibers and filament in order to benefit from the economies of scales to bring down our costs. And then in just a short decade, we can be a $1 billion business in revenues. This is our founding team, myself, Erica Ford, an associate professor within the Wilson College of Textiles. I teach about fiber extrusion, and I help many companies launch new and creative products. And we also have here Cheryl Wooten, who leads our business development unit. And then this is some of the remarkable advisors that we have worked with over the course of many of the NSF Innovation Corps programs. As you can see, they have experience in the C-suite and tech industry. So we are Nicelle Technologies. Thank you for coming along this journey with us. From funding from this competition, we will be able to obtain a certificate of analysis for our materials, which is a part of our commitment to transparency, and it would also make us ready to sell. Thank you very much.
Don't know if you hear me. Thank you so much for a wonderful presentation. My question has to do with, you mentioned the hair application. Can you go into what other applications for end users you may have with the product?
Sure. So these would be used as fibers that can be used in the fabrics and the upholstery, even seen in this room, the libraries, and other office spaces as well. And in particularly where those fabrics are used outdoors. That is what acrylic fibers are really known for.
Thank you.
Try that again. You still here? Okay. we're going to try this one. Thank you, Dr. Ford. Can you talk a little bit about, I appreciate your projection and your scale. Is the infrastructure, can it meet that scale that you have, both with the machinery and then as the mills? Will they be able to keep up with you if this projected growth actually happens?
Sure. That is actually based upon the foundation of this innovation. Typically, these fibers are made with very highly flammable materials, and that infrastructure does not exist with the United States. But within the United States, there are equipment companies for melt extruding what is called a thermoplastic. So what we have passed around are pellets that are thermoplastic that can melt within the existing infrastructure. We can start off with third-party suppliers and then transition into our own building.
You just began to allude to the technology. I was wondering if you could share anything that is shareable about the technology and if any of it is has intellectual property protection.
Sure. Our company licensed the patent from NC State in 2023. That's when the company formed. This technology was developed in my research group, where we wanted to be able to make a thermoplastic acrylic in place of the traditional method where you have to use very highly volatile organic compounds.
Is there other companies that are close to doing what you're doing, or is it just totally innovative? And like you obviously got the IP, so there's something differentiates it. What's the closest thing to give me a comparable?
Sure. So Oak Ridge National Lab, they have also patented a similar approach. Their goal to melt extrude the precursors to carbon fiber. But our technology has a better intermediate material, which is less costly and better for the economics of making these fibers. That's what I can say based upon the patent and the IP.
Our next company is focused on solving one of humanity's biggest problems, and maybe near and dear to those who us have newborn children, sleep. Their technology promises to help you wake up refreshed, which means fewer snoozes and fewer Monday mornings that feel like personal attacks. Thank you so much to Pratik Kunturu and Jade Lowe from Somni.
Sorry for all the clicking and all the squeaks.
Okay. So, did you know that the U.S. economy loses over $400 billion a year due to insufficient sleep? And did you know that sleeping less increases your risk of mortality by 13%? With these rising concerns, we set out to build Somni, where we want to improve the quality of your life by actually letting you sleep. Simple, right? Our product is a wearable device that listens to your body, provides you with the necessary environment you need in a two-part system.
The first part of Somni's wearables is a smart sleep mask, which has flexible electronics as well as bone conduction audio to create a soothing and comforting experience for our users. On top of this, we have temperature sensors as well as accelerators that together build a sleep history and a personalized sleep profile for each individual. With the help of ambient lighting, we are able to optimize melatonin, which is a key sleep hormone. The second part of Somni's wearables is a thermal regulating sleeve, which has real-time adjustment for optimizing the user's environment as they sleep. With the help of accelerators and vital sensors, we're able to further build upon the sleep profile and make sure that the sleeve is lightweight and ergonomic to ensure user comfort. But Jade, how did we get here?
Well, the problem was actually hiding in plain sight. We as a society have created a culture where exhaustion is worn like a badge of honor. You have students pulling all-nighters, nurses working back-to-back shifts, athletes training from sunup to sundown, new parents forgetting what even 3 hours of sleep has felt like, and business professionals dreaming of an actual 9-to-5 work week. We joke about being tired, we normalize it, we accept it. And millions of people across every industry and stage of life are sleeping tired. So let's do this. By a show of hands, how many of you have had trouble with sleep?
As you can see, you're not alone. Over 20% of US adults have their sleep impacted due to environmental disruptors. Over 35% of US adults are at heightened risk for chronic conditions due to poor sleep, and over 30% of US adults have a poor night's sleep due to sleeping too hot or too cold. And in fact, over 92% of the individuals that we talk to are getting less sleep than is recommended by studies.
And we want to address this by minimizing environmental disruptors, improving stress and health, improving productivity, but most importantly, improving sleep quality. And this all culminates into a vision we want Somni to uphold, a world where restorative sleep and daily well-being are not only accessible, but personalized and seamlessly integrated into our modern lives.
When we look at the market is way too segmented, with companies that have reasonably priced products or even premium products only really tackling one or two of our customers' issues. And with the help of Somni, we would be able to bridge this gap and bring a better product to the market.
Now, looking closer at the market, we see that the current global sleep tech market is valued at $26 billion and expected to grow by 14% till it reaches $60 billion by 2033. This is driven by a rising prevalence in sleep disorders that are wanting to be addressed by our current society. Alongside this are technological innovations in biometrics, as well as government initiatives such as NIH that are really pushing this market forward.
When we look at our revenue projections, our TAM is all working professionals in the US, our SAM is working professionals who want to optimize their sleep, and our SOM is a conservative adoption estimate for the first 5 years of sales. In the first 5 years, we expect to be financially constrained, but with the help of a seed round, as well as the release of a freemium software subscription model, we would be able to improve our cash flow and our capital, allowing Somni to scale as needed.
Now, as we look at our go-to-market strategy, we currently have 3 stages planned out. In our first stage, we are developing our MVP, and in the next year, expect to conduct further research, as well as testing development and looking at supplier relations. This validation would flow who will help us build a sustainable financial structure, as well as incorporate the business and build that engineering team we would need. Now, stage 3 would follow this product development as we look into marketing, production, product trials, and gearing up for an official launch.
With the help of Pitch to the Pack's financial resources, we would be able to develop our MVP, complete our customer persona, and gain direction and momentum with the help of Andrew's launch accelerator. In future months, we would then conduct product trials, get an estimate for overseas manufacturing, file for a provisional patent, and start developing our machine learning models for our customers. Pitch to Pack gives us the foundation and the opportunity to scale Somni for the world. Our team consists of me, Pratik, who's a mechanical engineering major with a business entrepreneurship minor.
Me, Jade, who is also a mechanical engineer.
And our third member is Arnav, who is a double major in electrical and computer engineering.
And with that, we want to thank you all and welcome you to the Age of Somni, where we are elevating more than sleep.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Thanks for sharing. What's the biggest risk to Somni, and what's your approach to addressing it?
That's a really good question.
I would say currently the biggest risk and the hardest part of our product is the product. We're currently developing our MVP, and with the help of our financial resources, we would be able to do that. But the biggest risk would be development and how we can make sure that the technology is both scalable, but also developed in the right way so that it's comfortable for our users.
Sleep's a big deal everywhere. We talk about it all the time, and I think the issue you're trying to address is spot on in the day and age we live in. A couple of questions. One, do you envision this integrating with the health app, just in the same way some of the other products you talked about do? And then secondly, you've got mattress companies out now that have the heating and the cooling mattresses and things like that. How does do you anticipate your product competing with that or working in conjunction with other products like that?
So to understand your first question, you're asking if we have an app as well with the product?
And will it integrate with the health app on your Apple device or whatever, as the Aura and other stuff does?
Okay. So as of this moment, we have thought about it, integrating it with other apps as well, but we want to be able to have our own app that gives you all the data that, you know, your Apple Watch or your Oura Ring has. And with your other question with like the mattress pads as well as other products that are currently out there, we want to compete with them in a way, because we want to be able to bridge the gap with like some of the companies that we had showed in our graph. You have 8 Sleep, which is a company that has mattress pads, but they're extremely expensive. They range from $3,000 to $5,000, and that's not something a normal person can easily afford. We want to be a product that is something that anybody can easily afford and not have to spend a copious amount of money while providing them with everything they need. And along the lines of other companies like Whoop or the Oura Ring, they only simply track, you know, biometric data, and that's it. We want to be able to combine essentially everything into a product that is reasonably priced and able to be afforded by anybody.
Yeah, and sorry, adding to that, market reports actually show that there's no adoption, and the issue with the market is that there's no adoption in the low and middle class individual families. So we want to create the product for that, and we are not just making a solution for solving mattress toppers with cooling and heating functions, but we're adding all the other functionality that other companies have, such as light integration, as well as tracking and sound therapy.
Since you mentioned your technology optimizes melatonin, have you tested whether this can help solve jet lag faster than 1 day per time zone?
This is actually one of the ways, this is one of the reasons why we have the product be portable, so that some individuals could take it onto a plane, for example, use it on the plane, they could set their destination where they're going, and by the time they wake up in the next destination, they're in the time zone and they're re-energized, and their body's whole circadian rhythm is in tune with where they are headed. And we plan to have the product be portable, or modular as well. You could wear just the sleep mask, you could wear just the sleeves as you want to fit your needs.
Sounds like, I heard it quickly, but that you're assuming overseas production. In your minimal viable product, will you be looking at the potential for U.S. production, particularly with the sleeve?
Yes, I think the main thing is we have to understand what kind of individuals and partners would be able to create the technology we want. It is new technology that has to be integrated from research labs and so on, and we would love to, if we can, produce it in the States.
So I don't want to get the cart before the horses, but I've seen so many great ideas, and I know great ideas, and then there's the distribution. Have you got to that point, or even thought about the distribution? How are you going to get it in people's hands?
So there's a couple ways. So right now we're pre-MVP, developing our prototype. In the next year, we hope to have a prototype and also manufacturing estimates that would tell us where we're going to be getting our products from. And when it comes to reaching our customer, there's a couple things. One way we want to get to our target market is getting relationships with company welfare programs. That would be a great way to get into a big organization, get this product out, help the company not only improve the efficiency of their employees, but also improve the health and well-being. And with those kind of strategic partnerships, we would be able to distribute the product through to the customers. This would also be direct to customer, if that's what you're asking.
Our next founder is bringing wearable technology to plants. Plants. Yes, plants. Because every crop deserves a healthy notification before things go south. Thank you so much to Verdia Diagnostics, Zach Hetzler.
Show and tell for you to pass around. Feel free to. Jeremy?
Hello, everybody. So I'm sure we're all fairly familiar with how disruptive and sometimes downright scary the threat of kind of invisible diseases and pathogens are. But what if there's another way to detect them early? What if you could actually smell them before you had a sense of when they were there? So I'm Zach with Verdia Diagnostics, and we're actually developing a tool, a sensor, to do just that in agriculture. So meet Tim. He's a local North Carolina greenhouse grower with tomatoes. He and other greenhouse growers lose about 5% of their plants to pathogens every year. This translates to about $20,000 in losses just in yield. So when we talk about commercial scale facilities that are 10, 20, 40 acres, this really adds up. And it's certainly not unheard of that commercial operations have much higher losses, up to 70%, even just losing the whole facility due to really aggressive pathogens, essentially burning the whole greenhouse down. And so one of the major kind of drivers behind this is sort of a lack of access to technology. The vast majority of growers diagnose diseases visually, and so once they actually see signs of a disease, it's spread very far beyond where they can actually manage it in an economically sustainable way. So it translates to a huge global pathogen-related crop loss problem, with previous studies showing we can reduce that by about half with really strong early warning tools. So we've developed a sensor aimed at this unmet need that essentially detects disease in a way through smell. So you and I and plants all sort of have a unique odor about us, and these are generally called volatile organic compounds or volatiles. We just shorthand call them VOCs. But it's a very kind of repeatable expression from plants, except when they're stressed, particularly during early disease onset. This profile changes quite a lot, and so our kind of unique sensor electrochemistry picks up on this with the kind of conductive material actually being a flexible fabric for a sensor that's conformable to plants. So we've detected diseases up to about a week early in tomatoes, a handful of different diseases, to give a platform to growers that not only can detect disease early, but allow them to intervene early to save a lot of their yield. So just kind of taking a look at what this looks like versus what's commonly used in the field now, no pun intended. The main kind of tools, visual detection, obvious deficiencies there. PCR, big, long sample to answer times from labs. Also test strips and a couple of emerging kind of startup technologies that really don't check a lot of the boxes that growers need for a sustainable solution. So we're starting with greenhouse growers. On the left is kind of a mock-up of just a simple dashboard where our sensors deployed as a network. Any one sensing node can essentially turn on sort of a check engine light for a grower if it detects problematic signals so they can take action. We're starting with greenhouse growers because of the indoor growing environment. Diseases transmit a lot faster. They're also super leveraged essentially in the high-value crops and the facilities themselves, giving them a lot of incentive to actually invest in disease management. But we also want to expand to outdoor agriculture as well for a much broader kind of market. So looking at kind of the economics for a customer use case, on the left, without our solution, on the right with. Again, previous studies show we can reduce crop loss by about half with our sensing technology. So obviously that'll boost revenue, but also we can reduce costs through reduced inputs of labor, pesticides, and other consumable diagnostics that they can cut back on. So with these projections, we think we can increase growers' profit margin by about twofold, and we'll take a small percentage of that as our revenue model. So our target market, initially starting with tomatoes, very high value. It's the biggest kind of segment within greenhouse-grown produce. Pretty significant market in the US, but then kind of thinking a little more broadly with high-value crops in North America, really large market and potential for early disease detection. We have a significant amount of kind of traction so far with letters of intent for paid pilots from commercial growers, recognition and support from the UN Food and Ag Organization for a sustainable approach to increase agricultural resilience, validation by NC IDEA for our approach. Shout out to that NC IDEA table over here. And then existing pilot revenue with goal to create a more scalable product by the end of the year to actually capitalize on our paid pilots. Really strong team with decades of sensor development experience, with kind of the expertise to actually execute on this mission. And I want to thank you all for paying attention and being here. We're raising about $50,000 to actually enable scaling these sensors. And my sort of call to action is if you or anyone you know are connected with sort of agricultural movers, we would love to get connected. Thank you.
You mentioned tomatoes, which I have a deep love of tomatoes. So you speak to me.
As a consumer or as a farmer?
As a consumer.
Okay.
So do different plants have different smell profiles, or some are stinkier than others using your smell thing? And does this work better on, is tomatoes like the first thing you thought of, or do other plants have the same potential as tomatoes?
Yeah, so all the VOC expression, volatile expression in plants is sort of akin to smell on someone's breath. Like every plant has that, but it is slightly different. So some are kind of maybe stinkier. And even within different species, so within tomatoes, there's different varieties. Each has a little bit of a tweak to it. But the same, volatiles are core metabolic component of plants that are really used as a communication tool. So all of them have it, and it changes, kind of actually warning other plants, essentially, if they, in fact, have a disease, to kind of shift their metabolism to prepare for it. So that behavior is true across all plants, but there might, essentially our sensor is a platform approach. We might have to tune a little bit for very different kind of profiles or fingerprints of pathogens, but the platform kind of approach is there.
Couple other quick questions, sorry. What happens after detection? Do you get the alert? Do you go beyond that, or is that when someone comes in to fight it? Do you eliminate the plant? I'm just thinking of the greater practicality.
Yeah.
You grow.
Yeah. So there's lots of integrators in the greenhouse space. So lots of kind of automation capabilities and climate control tools that automate lots of stuff all in here. Disease management itself is largely still a manual process. So it's an unsatisfying answer, but what growers do really largely depends on how aggressive what they're detecting is. Largely with fungal pathogens, they might spray pesticide and take a couple plants out. A lot of viruses, there's nothing you can really do. They just have to take the plants out. So we're trying to build a robust classification tool and to tell growers what they were actually detected to know what next steps to take. But essentially with the most aggressive pathogen in tomatoes, which is called brown rugose virus, 7 days early detection gets you about 90% loss reduction if they can take action much earlier.
Promise for me.
Sorry?
Are they reusable, or once the crop is harvested, you toss them, or what's the lifespan of each unit?
Yeah, so they are kind of meant to be single use. I think after use, there would probably be a little bit of, some level of saturation of VOCs just for kind of risk management. We would recommend using a new sensor. But sort of the approach that we'd be bringing is just a yearly subscription rather than charging for each individual sensor. So the subscription would get just the newest, best sensors and algorithms to actually have strong disease management.
So along those lines, how many sensors per greenhouse or per unit area, and how labor intensive is it to apply them? Because your photograph suggests the sensor is literally sticking onto the leaf.
Yeah. A great question. So this is one of the things we are determining from ongoing pilots, but essentially we're thinking around one sensor per every essentially square footage, depending on planting density. One sensor per about 500 square feet. And that can be tuned based on sort of risk appetite to diseases. But the sensor, so it's a wearable sensor. And in the current version, it's kind of got like clips on it, so it can just be slid on almost like a bookmark. Greenhouse growers are already essentially spending a lot of time with hands-on plants, pruning, harvesting, currently now usually a weekly, maybe daily disease scouting program. So they're already very hands-on with the plants already. A few seconds to put one sensor on every few dozen plants every 500 square feet, not a very big extra lift.
So right now you're at the greenhouse stage, but you anticipate open air, and how would it translate to application open air? You mentioned high-value crops, so would it take care of phylloxera in vineyards?
Sorry, repeat the last part of the question again?
The vineyards are typically affected by phylloxera.
Yeah.
So would this be able to take care of that?
Yeah, I mean, we haven't tested it against that, but Again, being a platform approach and sort of the metabolism of this kind of, we're measuring essentially the immune response of the plant, not measuring the disease itself. Vineyards are kind of our first strategic move in outdoors, or orchard crops, really high value crops like wine grape growers. They want to know all the data about their grapes, right? So we think disease detection is kind of our initial value add, but there's a lot of on-plant metrics that we think we can pull out that are really valuable to growers. We really just have to improve the kind of environmental readiness. It can get rained on and stuff like, the current version cannot, so that's where we're starting indoors. But once we get the cost down and figure out some of the engineering, that's where we're moving next.
Quick question. Does Verdia have any competitors? And if so, how are you going to differentiate or approach those greenhouses that you want to go to first?
Yes, so I'll try and answer quickly because I think we're at 5 minutes. But I did have the competitive matrix slide, which isn't the complete story. So those are the really common tools. There are some emerging startups that have kind of really unique approaches. All but one, I think we have a really significant advantage over. There's a Swiss-based company, it's called Vivent Biosignals. Very similar approach to us. The end result is the same, they're measuring stress, but they have electrodes plugged into plants and they're monitoring electrical signals sent through plants. So instead of sort of smelling, they're looking at inner electrical signals. Is non-invasive biochemical insights that all the other essentially sensor companies are doing environmental monitoring or kind of environmental risk assessment, monitoring spores in the air or imaging-based sensors are really not a true, it's still based on visual symptom emergence. Thank you. Did I give this to you?
If you've ever been told, just get it tailored, then this next company is for you, because our presenter is creating an apparel brand designed specifically for women 5 feet tall and under, introducing Up Till 5 with Becky Koch.
Imagine being an adult woman shopping in the children's department. Not by choice, but because nothing else fits. I know that feeling personally. I'm 4'6". Welcome to Up Until 5. And I'm not alone with this problem. These are real life examples of other women that suffer the same fit difficulties. So, what's the problem? Well, currently, the apparel industry has no sizing standard in place for women 5 feet and shorter. And results based on a survey showed that 37% disagreed and 18% strongly disagreed with the statement, "I am satisfied with my way of obtaining clothes," which suggests notable dissatisfaction. So what's there to do? Yeah, the petite sizing standard exists, but the fit does not. And this is because it accommodates women 5 feet to 5'4". So those that are shorter, what are they to do? Here at Up Until 5, we provide fit as a service for this population. We'll begin with an initial inquiry where clients book an appointment online, and we'll move on to one-on-one consultation with the client and discuss what's working, what's not, and we'll move into guided shopping sessions where I will meet these clients and shop for clothes that enhance their bodies. And then lastly, they'll undergo alteration guidance and suggestions based on my expertise. Morgan over here is one of our clients. You'll see on the mannequin her outfit before alteration, hanging off the body, not fitting properly, pants too long, jacket too long. Well, we made adjustments, and we found outfits that enhanced her body shapes and proportions. So let's look at the market. Roughly 3 to 5% of women in the U.S. are 5 feet and shorter. Now, that may sound like a small percentage, but that represents millions. And that's roughly $5 to $8 billion going on tap, with estimating that the average woman spends about $1,000 a year on clothing. We estimate a serviceable market about 400,000 clients, serving 200 a year at founder-led scale. So let's talk about how we go to market. First, we start with a pilot program with 50 pilot clients, and we start creating that measurement system and hope to create the sizing system for this population. Next, we expand our customer base, and we launch website booking and start introducing promotional ready-to-wear items such as this one. Lastly, we aim to reach 750 customers total. So why me? Well, as you can see. And I also have background in fashion and textiles, and my PhD research focuses solely on this. I don't just design solutions. I live this problem and I observe it. And this is a necessity, not a luxury. So let's look at our competition. Traditional tailors alter garments, personal stylists curate them. Neither of which serve a specific population, unlike us. We focus solely on one population with research to have high scalability, as our framework is repeatable and we obtain data from the same size market. This is our pricing. Clients can choose to purchase either individually or the total package, and based on this, we estimate about $225 per client. So using that, in our phase 1, we project about $3,000 in net profit revenue. And phase 2, we project about $23,000, and in phase 3, once we reach $750,000, $400,000. And we're backed by our experienced team, led by Dr. Andre West and Dr. Cassandra Kwan, early textile technologists, and early brand ambassadors such as Morgan. I've been told 5 fixes what the fashion industry currently doesn't have. At the end of the day, it comes down to something simple. It's not about clothing, it's about belonging. And we're not asking the industry to change first. We're fixing it ourselves and proving that the population is there. Thank you very much, and I look forward to your question.
Thank you for your presentation. That was wonderful. So it sounds like you're still, at some point, this needs to go to a tailor or a seamstress, and that is a dying art. So how are you ensuring that as your business grows, that you will have the tailors and seamstresses to grow with your business?
Yes, so we plan to introduce an intelligent team of experienced tailors and seamstresses, and unlike traditional tailors, they only do very easy accommodations with alteration, whereas we're willing to fully reconstruct the garment because, like myself, I am a pattern maker, so I have expertise on the construction of a garment. However, in order to avoid the excessive alteration, when we meet with our clients during the consultations and the shopping session, we will specifically look for garments that enhance their body shape and proportion in order to avoid those drastic alterations that may need to be done.
From a marketing standpoint, you mentioned there's while it's a small percentage, it's a significant number of folks. What is your marketing strategy moving forward, and how long do you think it will take to get some real traction in the market?
Great. Yes, so primarily starting off in phase 1, we will start with social media marketing. Personally, as a part of my PhD, I'm a part of a lot of Facebook and Reddit groups that have a very large community of women that are short-statured, and they post in it daily about their outfits that they purchase and how to be stylists. So it's a really tight-knit community of women that suffer the same difficulties, and I've learned that through my PhD research as well, is that we all experience the same challenges. While as soon as we start to expand, items such as our promotional ready-to-wear items will help market on the streets and show women that this brand exists, and they might be questioned about what did this brand do, what is it about, which will lead them to searching it and then going onto our website.
Good afternoon. Given that initial consultation fee, is there a certain income level that you've analyzed that you want to start or target?
Yes, so the packaging that I have displayed is based on comparison to traditional tailors and personal stylists, and it's on the lower end. And we made those calculations based on that the average woman spends about $1,000 a year on clothing, which is on the lower end. A lot of reports and facts say that it's closer to about $1,700 a year. But we wanted to start small in order to bring the population in and make them interested in this service in order to build repertoire for our company.
Given the personalization that you're talking about, is your idea more acknowledging the demographic of consumers that you have identified rather than simply getting them a good fit?
Yes. So during our one-on-one consultation, we will actually conduct body analysis with our client through a mobile app that is called Me 360, and that app allows the customer or client to be scanned, and it jots out a bunch of different measurements based on their proportion, and that's specifically what we're looking at a brand, is how the proportions differ for this population based on the petite size model or regular size model. And also children's wear is also an option for this population. Thank you.
Just as a friendly reminder, if you would like to connect with any of these companies, whether those are farmers, growers, or women in your life who could use a little bit better style, make sure to check out the red envelope, leave your contact card, and we will get you back in touch with all these amazing founders. Up next is Ruck Sox. Knowing that the government and other entities have not updated the cotton sock in decades, while everything else has moved at this light speed, Ruck Sox is here to introduce how they can fix that with a product made in the Carolinas. Thank you to Joe Martingale with Ruck Sox.
How's everyone going? My name is Joe Martingale. I'm with Ruck Sox, and we'd love to present our company to you today. So, real quick, we'll be going over the problem and opportunity, solution and value prop, market analysis, go-to-market strategy, financial projections, team, and we'll do some Q&A. I'd like to say that this company was started by my friends and myself. A few years ago, we all got out of the military. We wanted to keep the friend group together, and we decided, let's start a company, and this is what we fell into. So the problem is when you ruck, and I guess I'll take a minute because I don't know if we have any vets in the room or people from England, but a ruck is when you put a bunch of weight on your back in a backpack, you go for a hike because your officer says to, and you keep doing that for miles and miles and miles and miles. And you get blisters and your feet wear out and they wear down. And in the military, you're only ever issued 6 pairs of really, really crummy cotton socks when you join and never get issued any ever again. So we designed a solution to that problem. We use a custom merino wool blend. Merino wool is known as the miracle fiber in the industry because of all the properties. And instead of trying to cut costs, we said, how do we stuff as much of this as possible to protect our warfighters? And 100%, every inch of our supply chain is within the United States. So the value prop is really a Carolina supply chain. I mean, dyeing, knitting, packaging, it's all done here. The only thing that's not in the Carolinas is the sheep are in Oregon, and we get the wool from there. But yeah, the three of us all did special operations, psychological operations in the Army for between 4 to 7 years each. Got out, a couple of us, decided to keep the pain going and do our MBAs, and decided let's just keep going after this. So marketing is primarily to the LEAF community, which is law enforcement and armed forces. We've seen a tremendous level of acceptance there. And our go-to-market strategy was we really launched in 2023, strictly B2C online. We'd go to farmers markets, meet the customer where they're at, and then end of 23 going into 24, a little bit of B2B. So there's those mom and pop retailers right outside Fort Bragg in about 8-9 locations there. From 24 to 25, we saw a 153% jump in our revenue. That's driven by a 180% increase in our direct-to-consumer and a 40% increase in same-door sales in run-through at those retail locations. In 2026, we're teamed up with 2 separate entities right now to enter the B2G space, trying to get some of those more sought-after government contracts. We're a little too expensive for the whole military, but there's some select units that can purchase in the thousands of pairs each, which we'd really like to pursue. So market expansion, right now we have over 500,000 basically eyeballs through social media, both through our own channel and some of our partnered media channels. Really concentrated within the elite warfighter community, those more high-level police forces like SWAT teams, and really just in the high-performance communities. Our in-person reach, we think we dominate through just the ability to like go to market and meet the customer where they're at, meet them at the farmers markets around base, go to SHOT Show, meet with the B2G people. Our market analysis is we're playing in a $45 billion sock market, but that's not really our market. Our market is more just that, you know, special operations, SWAT team, about $100 million a year, we believe, through sock sales just for that SOM. A little bit of our competition. We put more merino wool than any of our competition in our socks. Military owned, 100% in the US. We have all of the products and features that our customers are looking for. And I think that's proven through our growth. First year we did 18,000, pretty low year, but fun. The second year, you know, we grew to, oh my God, this might be a thing one day. And then last year was, okay, now it's getting pretty serious. So we did $117,000 last year in revenue. This year we got officially into a national retailer, so we already have about $100,000 in purchase orders just to kick the year off. And we think we'll do between $250,000 to $275,000 this year. Lifetime, we've already clocked $300,000, so pretty exciting stuff. And a little bit about the team is just my buddy Killian, who can't be here today doing this because he's in flight school. So I am Joe Martingale, CFO, currently a full-time MBA student at Vanderbilt. We have our buddy Stu, and Emily, who's here today as well, is the team. Thank you.
Talk margins.
Margins, yeah, absolutely. Our margins are great. So close to 70% when we do direct-to-consumer, about 68.5%. Our B2B with mom and pops is a 50% margin, and our national retailer is a 40% margin. Yeah.
Do you have manufacturers set up in the U.S.?
Yeah, we are in a third, sorry, I didn't know where that, oh, right here. Oh, gotcha. Yes, we're in Denton, North Carolina, so about 40 minutes outside Charlotte, in a third-generation hosiery mill in the Carolinas. It gets dyed down the street in Denton, the packaging comes from Raleigh, and the sheep are in Oregon. Yeah.
The T's silent in Denton. I'm just kidding.
Is it?
I'm just kidding. How the locals say it, just kidding.
You guys are sniffing the New Yorker out of me every minute.
Obviously, anything that is done to enhance the lives of those who protect us is awesome, and I love where you're going with this. Couple of questions. You explained a little bit how it differs from Fox River and some of the other stuff. What's to stop a VF or one of these behemoths from coming in and saying, okay, we're going to throw more wool into our smart wools and pump them out?
Yeah. Well, I would hope that VF would approach us with a check first, but yeah, I think the one thing that really differentiates us is the simple fact that it's a sock. So at the end of the day, it's kind of a commodity product. So I think we just have an extremely defensible brand, and our product is not going to be beaten by anyone else. So anyone else can come and match our sock, but we lived the life. We did the stuff. We meet the customer where they're at, and I think that they appreciate that. This is all through zero paid marketing. We've done some money towards branding events and getting our name out there, but this is essentially 100% organic, minus a few $1,000s in meta ad spend. Yeah.
Last question. You mentioned lifetime guarantee.
Yeah.
What's the lifetime of a sock like that, and have y'all had to?
We'll figure that out when we get there. So we've sold over 10,000 pairs sold, plus like another 8,000 pairs kind of guaranteed into the future. And we've had about only 20 returns, period. Over the 10,300 pairs we've already sold, there's only been 20 returns.
So I applaud your supply chain. Socks are very, very complicated actually to create. So are there any unique construction elements to your socks that differentiate you in the market in addition to your materials and
Yeah.
the percentage of wool?
Yeah, so I think the biggest one is the percentage of wool. We want to just get as much of the moisture off the foot, as well as provide that thermoregulating capability that wool can do. Our socks are built in Denton, North Carolina, where I think they have some of the best machines imported from, this is, I guess, the inch that's not in the US is Lunati machines to make those socks from Italy. They have a seamless toe box. I think they have everything that you really need. We worked very closely in the designing of it with the hosiery mill themselves. And we put it through 12 months of testing. My buddy deployed with them to Africa. We had special forces teams go to the Middle East with them. Everyone raved reviews on them. So I think we have the product. Thank you. Yeah.
Why are you avoiding your former employer as a customer?
Yeah, we're aggressively targeting those. So the law changed. Any unit now, purchasing officer, can swipe up to $100,000 on the government credit card, up from it was $10,000 last year. So we're aggressively pursuing those units and those purchasing officers where they have the ability and authorized to do that, because it's a much more seamless, easy, and efficient process. But to have large recurring contracts with the military, to be quite frank, like, we make too good of a sock. Like, the ones that they issue you are the worst things you'll ever put on your feet in the world. I mean, they're just awful. And they only give you 6 and they never give them to you again. And we just know that when you graduate basic training, the first thing that you do is go get a good pair of socks, because it's like a lifestyle. It's investing in a mattress. It's a lifestyle investment for you, because you're going to be putting those miles on your feet. And we say, why shouldn't it be us on the shelf? Thank you.
This lifetime guarantee bothers me.
Yeah.
You've
You're
only been
talking to
doing
the
it for-
finance. I didn't like it either when we did.
That's why you always have 3 partners. No even number of partners. I mean, you've only been doing it for 3 years and you already had 20 returned. That's insane expensive. So is it a lifetime of the person? Are you putting a number on it? Is it in writing?
So I don't think 20 returns on a 0.2% return rate on a 70% margin product is that incredible.
3 years though, 10 years.
Yeah, I think our competitors are doing it. Darn Tough does it. I think that we firmly believe in this product. The majority of those returns are not because they're getting worn through. They're because people just hike their socks up as hard as they can and put a hole through the big toe. I stand by our lifetime guarantee. I think there's no issues with it. It's usually user error. And if somebody like Darn Tough can own their own manufacturing and offer this at a lower quality product, then I see no reason why we shouldn't be able to do it as well. Thanks.
Our next pitch combines an interesting Venn diagram here of knitting enthusiasts and women's sports. Introducing halftime stitches with Riza Ruth. What? What? Oh, I missed our bio break. Everyone take a minute right here. How long are we on for? 10 minutes before Riza comes and impresses us all. 10 minutes. All right, we got about 2 more minutes before I'm going to ask everyone to come back and be seated for our next presentation. 2 more minutes. All right, everybody, if we can come back and take your seats so we can continue on with today's pitches. All right, if we can get everyone out in the hall to come on back as well. I also can get BJ at the audio table to make this microphone have feedback to... I got one giggle. All right. Wonderful. So, you heard me say it once before, and I'm going to say it again. Our next presenter is Riza Ruth with Halftime Stitches, talking about how she's bringing 2 interesting Venn diagram halves to a whole, sports fans and knitting enthusiasts. Riza Ruth.
Good afternoon. All right. Think back to the last sports game you watched. Maybe it was at a packed arena, maybe it was at your favorite bar, and you saw a fan in a bedazzled jersey, a painted jacket, or a crocheted beanie in their sports team colors. Sports fans have been into DIY for a long time. Hi, I'm Riza, founder of Halftime Stitches, where women's sports fandom meets handmade craft. As a New York Liberty season ticket holder, I had 22 home games to attend and only 2 shirts I actually wanted to wear. So, women's sports merch is often limited, mass-produced, and based on the male sports model of shrink it and pink it. There's an enormous community of fans, especially women, LGBTQ, and crafters, who want to show team pride their way, but the industry hasn't caught up. So I designed, drafted, and knit my own merch for what I wanted to wear. And that one piece caught people's attention. Soon, my comments and DMs were flooded with fans asking for a pattern so they could make one of their favorite team and player. At the same time, teams and players started following my knitting, and I built hype around gifting pieces to athletes, and fans loved it. This story resonates far beyond the court. Major news outlets have featured my work, and I've quickly become part of the bigger conversation of creativity and sports. The women's sports market is absolutely exploding, and the merch demand far outpaces supply. At the same time, analog hobbies are on the rise, and the digital goods market is one of the fastest growing markets. Halftime Stitches sits at the intersection of all three. An estimated 5 to 10 million people are at the crossroads of these two fandoms and fiber arts. If you zoom in on these numbers, they represent the attendees of my women's sports night. Once a month, even in single-degree weather, over 100 people come together to make, cheer, and connect, as shown in this image. And maybe you saw the breakout trend of the Winter Olympics, athletes knitting between events, or viral posts of a Blue Jays knitter throughout the World Series. This is a cultural wave, not a niche. There are incredible merch brands in the women's sports space. However, none of them focus on DIY. Alternately, Etsy sellers focus on DIY for men's sports and crochet. No one's knitting, no women's sports. And here's where licensing really comes in. This is what will allow me to create official patterns of team logos and player names so fans can knit their own legitimate team-branded gear. And luckily, I'm in active conversations with interest growing. The product itself is a digital downloadable pattern inspired by team gear. I made the jersey I'm wearing right now, and I handed the judges a printout of the pattern to show an example of the product itself. It's sustainable, scalable, and accessible, and we already have sales. In fact, we're outperforming the average knit seller, and that is before licensing. Each download sells for about $15, generating over $10 in profit. Assuming R&D for each unique pattern is about $1,000, including paying myself, we'll break even at 96 units sold. That kind of margin flexibility is what makes digital products so powerful. Because we have no manufacturing and no inventory, we are profitable almost immediately. And as licensing expands and more teams and sports are added, margins hold strong while reach multiplies, unlocking huge potentials for partnerships, collaborations, and more. Growth is driven by storytelling and community. I use TikTok and Instagram to share behind-the-scenes videos that consistently go viral, and will continue to host in-person community events. I studied fashion design here at NC State, and I work in the licensing environment in New York City, setting me up for a great team to build this out, along with my mom and my good friend Emma. For years, people have been modifying and making their own merch for sports. We are the first brand that's building a business around that. We are rewriting what fan gear can be: sustainable, creative, and personal. Thank you.
Thank you. I really appreciate all the intersections you talked about. As this it's not a trend, it's what did you say? It's a niche.
It's a cultural movement.
A cultural movement, that's right. Okay, as this cultural movement grows, how will you secure your market differentiation as that cultural movement grows and other people come online to do similar things?
Being the first to market in this space really gives me authenticity. I have followers on social media of multiple teams and players, so my name has already been connected in this space. I'm also in conversations with leagues, and I hope to establish exclusivity in those licensing agreements.
Can you wash that? Can you wash your product? Like in the washing machine?
Oh, in the washing machine. You can. Again, the product is actually the pattern, so that would be dependent on the final maker's choice of yarns and construction.
So talk to me about licensing, the expense of that, and the ongoing expense, and then trying to branch out into other universities. How have you considered that into the financial projections?
Yes. So the licensing agreements will typically have a minimum guarantee and then like 10 to 15% royalty fee. So, sorry, the screen changed. So yeah, I've included that in. When I say I have about a 70% profit margin, that estimated a 15% royalty already. And then my overall financial projections add in that minimum guarantee. Does that answer the question?
Is the demand that you are talking about such that Caitlin Clark or an Angel Reese would want to do this without charging you money for them doing it?
Can you rephrase the question?
Is it iconic enough that the stars of, say, women's basketball would do this without your wanting to pay them to do it?
So the licensing agreements would be that if I use their names, they would get a percentage of it. And my hope is that they would want to be a part of that agreement where their names are allowed to be used. I would only pay them if their product sells, and like a Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, people want to buy their merch.
As you grow and look at new patterns, is this something that AI could assist you with, or are you having to come up with all these patterns yourself?
There is ways AI can help, especially the longest part of the process is creating the charts, which are, what makes this say NC State, that really looks like the NC State women's jersey. That's where AI can come in to help. How do I take this very detailed logo and convert it into stitches, because your stitch gauge is much larger than maybe a screen printing screen. So yes, that's where AI could come in. Then there's also just the know-how of knitting and making the product itself that requires expertise.
Have you had to play any defense from the, not to use a sports analogy, but from the licensing standpoint, the young lady with the clear Toronto Blue Jays logo? NC State, and as we've learned, or state, is very hard to get a profit off of, according to Adidas. But clearly the Toronto Blue Jay is. Was there a nastygram sent or anything there?
I'm very lucky that I've had such support from the community. I think having multiple players in the WNBA follow me, support me, makes it so that the WNBA does not want to come after me. Right now I'm not selling an NC State pattern. This is just for me, to be clear. So I haven't had any blowback. The Blue Jays knitter, I am friends with her. She is not able to sell those, so she can wear it on her own. She has gotten a lot of news, press about it, but Blue Jays will not, or MLB will not reply to her. I do think I'm luckier in the women's sports space. It is a smaller, tighter knit, very supportive community. That is a reason why I love women's sports, that the men's sports don't have the same.
Your phrase, shrink it or pink it, I'm going to use that one. I think that's so on spot.
Our next startup is solving a real-world challenge in veterinary care, helping pets recover safely and comfortably after medical procedures, which is great news for all the pets, but also more important for the humans trying to keep from immediately undoing the vet's work. Up next is Vetband with Patty Sikora.
Do you have pets? They're your babies, right? You may even like them better than your own kids. So you can appreciate how stressful it is when they're sick. They don't want to eat, and then you're given a whole pharmacy of medications that you need to try to get into them. Very, very stressful. Well, placing esophagostomy tubes, which are feeding tubes that go into the neck, directly into the esophagus, has become the gold standard of care to make these pets heal. It allows us to provide nutrition, hydration, and to medicate them without the stress and struggle of having to do it without them. And it also allows for shorter hospital stays. They're truly life-saving. In fact, one company alone sells 20,000 tubes in a year. If you add in other distributors as well as other types of tubing that can be placed, it's probably well over 30,000 tubes are placed a year. The problem is the way they're secured to pets. The only product available commercially right now is the kitty collar, and it has some serious design flaws. It's bulky, uncomfortable, there's poor airflow to the skin below. It reduces range of motion. They can't turn their heads with it. And the tube is exposed, so when the pet runs underneath the furniture, it can get potentially dislodged. It also has Velcro that is connected underneath the chin, as well as what holds the tube. And that Velcro catches in the hair. It does not wash well and will fail to secure over time. And it's noisy. The pets absolutely hate the noise. And so clients become less and less inclined to remove the kitty collar to take care of the skin around the insertion tube where the tube goes into the neck. And we end up with these nasty infections. So a lot of people have tried to make improvements on them, and they sold some very successful designs on Etsy that were thinner, more comfortable, less bulky, and secured the tube better. And I actually consulted with a veterinary supplier on this design on the right here that was made of a thinner material. It was narrower. It had better airflow, and it had a little pocket for the tube. And they were all sued by kitty collar. So that's why I came up with the Vetband. It solves all of these problems. It's made of a soft, stretchy fleece that slides right over the pet's head like a soft blanket. You pull back the edge that's closest to the shoulder, and it reveals this inner sleeve that holds the tube in place. You can see the skin as well, easy to see, so that clients can take care of it and prevent infection. So we've seen a huge drop in infection since we've started using this. And there's no Velcro. In fact, there's no connections whatsoever. The Vetband does it all. It has full range of motion, provides full tube protection, ease of skin maintenance, it's fully washable, and it's more affordable. So based on 20,000 tubes placed a year, which is a low estimate, and accounting for the client needing a spare Vetband for washing, that would be 40,000 units sold per year. At $30 each, that would be $300,000 in revenue. My goal is to have 25% of kitty collars market within the first year, which would be about 10,000 units. So that would be your $300,000 in revenue. With the production cost around $7, that would give a net profit of $230,000. By year 5, I hope to have 80% of the market and generating $480,000 in revenue. So I would be launching in a dual channel. I'll start with the veterinary hospitals through direct marketing as well as through their suppliers so that they can stock these easily. The goal would be to educate the veterinary staff that the Vetband is a much better product than the kitty collar and have them switch. They will be introducing the client to the Vetband when the pet goes home with an esophagostomy tube. And then they have Amazon that they can purchase these additionally when they get home. So I've secured patent protection from NC State, thank you very much. There's prototypes that have tested across the country, including over 1,000 pets at NC State, and glowing testimonials from both veterinarians and pet owners. So my experience in 20 years in medicine will developing client relations and a network of hospitals with training of our veterinary students, interns, and residents gives me the insight and the credibility to execute this strategy with confidence. So I'm inviting you to join me. Not only does the Vetband protect the tubes, it protects pets, empowers owners, and creates a scalable, profitable solution in a growing market. Let's make veterinary medicine more compassionate, efficient, and effective together. Thank you. Any questions?
Where are you having these made?
In my son's bedroom. I'm manufacturing myself right now. I'm hoping to quickly scale up. I can produce several hundred in a week. I'm not a seamstress, so I'm hoping to move on to actually have them manufactured somewhere.
So clearly, Kitty Collar has an aggressive strategy to eliminate competition. Do you have a war chest, or do you think you might get overlooked? Because sounds like they've got a pretty strong record.
Well, as I said, I've got patent protection, and that's been the biggest problem. They sued everybody because they felt it was a patent violation, particularly the one that was manufactured by another veterinary hospital or veterinary supplier. And I combed through the patent protection, the patent that Kitty Collar had, and made sure that I had no problems with what they had already patented. So I'm confident that that will go through. I've, again, had a lot of people that are very happy with this product over the Kitty Collar. They've all complained about the Kitty Collar, so I'm hoping that there won't be an issue, but, and I'm assuming that the patent protection will definitely help that.
Assuming is not a great strategy.
I don't see a reason why they could actually come after me because of the patent protection.
It's just interesting that you've pointed them out so much. I'll be
sorry.
planning. It's interesting you pointed out what they did, and knowing that they do that,
Yeah.
that's going to be planned for it.
That was my, my impetus for doing this, because everybody's struggling with these collars. It's hard to see the pets and the clients deal with these. It was difficult for me to deal with the infections that we were seeing because the Kitty Collar did not provide a really good way to keep the tube clean or keep the skin clean and prevent those infections. So I think I can definitely make a case for the veterinary hospitals. They're the ones that are going to be purchasing it, and they can easily switch from the Kitty Collar. As I said, I've already got multiple hospitals that are asking for it, so I feel like this will go through pretty easily.
It looks like you've tested this on about 1,000 pets. Can you talk a little bit about the decrease in rates of infection by using the
Yes,
product?
in fact, I've got, we have multiple studies that are getting underway to prove the decrease, all of those things actually, to prove that the infection rate has dropped tremendously, that there's better compliance, that the tube is not getting dislodged. The removal of the tube is probably one of the biggest things because once it comes out, the hole will close up right away, and then the pet has to go through another anesthetic event to have it replaced, so it's very costly to do that. So we have seen a huge decrease, and I don't have those numbers yet. The studies are underway. We're working with Texas A&M in a joint study with, because I think they're using Kitty Collars as well as some of the ones I've sent down to them, and hopefully we'll have a good comparison of that in the next couple of years.
Is the innovation in the fabric or in the design of the collar?
The design, I'm still playing with the fabric, but the design is really the big thing. The fact that there's no connectors, no Velcro, nothing like that. It's very easy for the client to access the tube. It is definitely securing the tube better because that Velcro really wears out. They're expensive. They're about $58 a piece, and so when they need to be washed, clients are either less inclined to wash them, again, contributing to these infections because the tubes come in with gunk all underneath of them, and they're expensive to replace, so people try to make it work. These are very easy to wash. The Vetbands are very easy to wash. They really hold up well. The fabric is very kind to the pet. It's not tangling the hair, and it does seem to hold with a lot more comfort.
And does the patent have, I mean, are you working on other patents to sort of protect your core patent so that you are not attacked on the core technology you have protected?
The patent office here that issued my patent are still working through that process, and hopefully we'll have full acceptability and it'll be completely passed through within the next several months. So I think that I'm pretty sure that's really all I need to do to make sure that was secured. That's kind of out of my realm. I'm dealing with the pets, so I leave the patent stuff and all the lawyer-ish stuff to the people in those offices. Any other questions? Thank you very much.
Our next founder is focused on helping mothers feel comfortable, confident, and stylish after one of life's biggest transitions, because postpartum life is very hard, enough without fighting your wardrobe as well. Please welcome Tony Toomey from Hone.
Hi, I'm Tony Toomey, founder of Hone. Most professional apparel contains synthetic fabrics, now linked by Mount Sinai to fertility risks and type 2 diabetes. As a new mother, I realized I was wearing these materials daily while also breastfeeding. The summer after giving birth, I attended a work retreat, and I struggled to find polished, breathable clothing that allowed for easy nursing access. None existed in natural fibers. My only options were synthetic loungewear or leftover maternity. Women are expected to look professional while unknowingly wearing materials that may compromise their hormonal health. I surveyed over 250 moms. 89% struggled to find nursing wear for professional settings. 92% were willing to pay more for organic, hormone-safe fabrics. With 90% of moms planning to nurse or pump upon returning to work, and the American Academy of Pediatrics recommending 2 years for breastfeeding, the market gap is only widening. In 2024, I founded Hone to create hormone-safe apparel for postpartum women, starting with nursing dresses made from organic cotton, merino wool, and cashmere. Our designs feature discreet lift-away layers that allow moms to nurse in professional or social settings without exposure. We're launching 3 silhouettes this coming fall. We serve 3.3 million nursing moms annually. We have a $3.9 billion global nursing wear TAM and a $1.2 billion US SAM. Based on our bottom-up market analysis, we estimate over 500,000 high-income nursing moms in the US annually, with high income defined as over 160,000. Projecting 20% reach into this market with an average price of $414, an average of 1.9 children, and 3 purchases per nursing period, we see a clear path to a $72 million SOM by 2031. Hone is a direct-to-consumer brand launching through e-commerce. Our waitlist has over 400 moms on it, our social media reach grew by over 1,000% last month, and we've onboarded 22 mom creators with a combined reach of over 3.4 million followers. We acquire customers through relatable, educational postpartum content, organic social, and affiliates. We're also in active conversations with a rental platform to expand our reach beyond the premium demographic and allow mothers outside of that demographic to experience our brand and increase our brand recognition. Our dresses are priced between $375 and $495 with an average gross margin of 55%. We'll do limited release seasonal drops beginning in Q3 of this year, building towards our wholesale and New York Fashion Week launch in September of 2027. Most postpartum brands repurpose existing maternity silhouettes. This leads to poor fit. Existing nursing wear brands focus on casual wear and utilize synthetic fabrics and visible access points. Our survey respondents, 40% of them said that they already purchased nursing wear from luxury designers, yet 72% cited unflattering fits. Our customers consistently care about fit, quality, and the ability to wear the same garment across professional and social settings. We project $140,000 in revenue for 2026, growing to $729,000 in 2027. We manufacture in Italy to avoid the volatile high tariff countries, and we proactively add a 25% buffer for import fees, typically ranging 16 to 17%. Because we lock in our production and materials ahead of launch, we're able to scale consistently at our 55% gross margin. I'm a 9-year operations professional at venture-backed startups with experience scaling teams across ops, finance, and customer service. We have experienced contractors running marketing, social media, and earned media. We have a deep advisory board with experience across fashion design, lactation support, marketing, and sustainability, and they have all committed to monthly support on an equity-only basis. This $10,000 accelerates 3 tangible outcomes: 2 additional silhouettes finalized and production ready this year, expanded inventory capacity for our summer launch, and a measurable increase in brand authority through strategic content and earned media. In 30 days, we would grow qualified waitlist demand, strengthen third-party validation, and further de-risk our upcoming release. This prize positions Hone for a stronger and more confident market entry. Join Hone because what you wear every day matters.
Good afternoon. What are the sizes of your product? And do you have plus size?
So right now we are small through extra large. Our sizes have a lot of forgiveness in them because of the knit construction that we do. There's about 7 to 8 inches of stretch. We do this because the postpartum body is changing quickly. We definitely want to expand and offer a larger size range. As a startup, we're financially constrained, but we do have plans to offer up into plus sizes as well.
Your manufacturing in Italy, did you look other, I know you said you were going to avoid the high tariff. Did you look domestically at all? Or is, Italian fashion, has a 10% premium probably when you're selling it, I guess. But is that part of the thing, or did you look other places?
It's definitely both. So we did try to manufacture in the US. Unfortunately, the cost to manufacture was just so high that it made the dress cost prohibitive. We did explore Portugal and Thailand, but like you said, Italian manufacturing kind of has that premium feel to it. And they're very good at what they do. Any other questions?
So did you just say you can't get it priced to happen in the U.S.? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, so we were quoted what was essentially like 80% of what our retail price would be to manufacture in the US. It's something that as we grow and we have a larger order quantity, it's possible that we could bring manufacturing to the US, but with the small order size and the premium pricing, the profit margins were completely disappearing.
What's your long-term view? Is this an exit to one of the big, I guess that's a yes. Is it an exit to, I'm going to use men's brands like the PVHs of the world or something like that, or is this something you really want to grow and sustain and maintain your niche?
Yeah, so there is precedent for this. So Hatch specifically is kind of the analogy that I use. They're a maternity brand. The moms who wear Hatch when she's pregnant is the mom who wears Hone when she's nursing. They were acquired by Go Global. They also acquired Janie and Jack. They're just a PE roll-up firm. And Go Global specifically really wants to own the mom and baby space. And our plan is to expand into thoughtful children's as well to support mom while she's nursing and then through every stage. So natural fiber, children's apparel as well. Thank you.
Our next founder looks at the classic button-up shirt and asks a simple question. Why does this work for some women and absolutely not for others? Her answer is a product designed to make safety pins not part of your accessories. Introducing Lainey Volz.
Button-up shirts are meant to do one thing: button up. Not leave gaping holes that you tug, prod, and adjust all day. And when do you wear a button-up? At work, at formal events, at the moments that really count. Moments when you truly need your shirt to have your back and fully cover your front. For so long, women with a larger cup size have been told to use a safety pin or stitch the button placket in place. It's 2026, And different sizes deserve to be the product, not the modification. Introducing my company, Lainey Volz, and our debut product, the Button Cup shirt. A button-up shirt specifically designed for women with a D cup and up. Hi, I'm Lainey Volz. I'm a senior studying fashion and textile design at the Wilson College of Textiles. And my recent professional experience includes designing apparel at Victoria's Secret Pink and pursuing size-inclusive undergraduate research at the college. My company, Lainey Volz, is a size-inclusive, fun, feminine, colorful, and maximalist clothing line. My company not only has the intention of catering to an extended size range, but different proportions. Existing options fail because a widespread trend in the current market is making size-inclusive synonymous with simple shapes and neutral color palettes. Additionally, the Lainey Volz customer ranges from 20 to 40, and a button-down is a staple in a young professional's wardrobe. That 20-year-old is not going to spend $255 on a button-up, especially a plain white one that she's bound to spill her iced coffee on as she dashes from the subway to her desk. That is why all colorways and fabrications of the Lainey Volz button cup shirt are under $115. They feature unique textile designs and colors. They feature body contouring princess seams for the most flattering fit, as well as creating job opportunities in the North Carolina textile industry. Meet the button cup shirt, a shirt designed with princess seams to perfectly flatter your curves, a hidden button placket to eliminate gaping, an exposed button placket with traditional button spacing, and a back cincher. With the desire to grow even more inclusive, the launch will first include the following size combinations. This gives the customer 36 possible sizes to choose from. Additionally, the debut launch will feature these 4 colorways, each of which are an original textile design. For decades, the US apparel and lingerie industry has centered around core sizes, cup sizes A through D, with band sizes 32 through 36. Yet 35% of US women have larger than a D cup. That is a $12 billion market in the workwear industry alone. So what if we capture just 5% of that market? That is $600 million. This is not a niche. This is a neglected $1 million segment. Our go-to-market timeline follows a made-to-order model, with the first launch being in summer of 2026, capping at amounts feasible for me and the 3 North Carolina-based seamstresses to complete. There will then be 2 more scaled-up drops in 2026, and starting in 2027, there will be 4 drops annually. Additionally, to keep the prices of the button-up shirt competitive, we will also be selling products, apparel products, that have higher profit margins than the button-up shirt, such as elastic band skirts and scrunchies. That extra money will then go into the long-term creation of the button-up shirts. Today, I'm asking for $7,695 to make all of this possible. Here are the financial projections based off that data. And my primary marketing channels will be my social media platforms. I have built a following of 1,500 engaged followers across Instagram and TikTok. I share personable content about being a fashion student and documenting my sewing projects. There is great interest in my comment section and DMs about selling a product, and I have followers who are eager to buy. Meet the team. I want to create job opportunities within the North Carolina textile industry, so my 3 seamstresses will all be North Carolina-based. Additionally, one of my most impactful experiences throughout college was being a sewist for a Wilson College of Textiles alums brand. I want to be able to give back to Wilson and create a high-impact student experience by having one of these roles be held by a current student, especially since the sewist roles will begin as part-time. This creates an opportunity that could then translate into a post-grad opportunity for a Wilson student. With Lainey Volz, women are empowered to enter spaces authentically. No adjustments needed. Any questions?
Are you wearing a Lainey Volz original now?
I am not. Unfortunately, my prototypes were not my size, but I did really want to wear one today.
As far as you had the three questions about your seamstresses, and I think it's phenomenal to look for one within the Wilson College of Textiles.
Yes.
Where do you anticipate finding the other ones, or do you already have those lined up?
Sorry, would you be able to repeat the end of that?
The other two seamstress positions, do you have those lined up already? Do you have folks in place?
I do not, but I plan to release more information about those applications towards the end of this spring.
And I know you'll find them, and we should talk so I can help you find some. How do you want to scale? Let's say you're wildly successful. How would you scale? Because hopefully you would outgrow those three seamstresses quickly.
Definitely. So I think something I've been thinking about is I want to have these 3 North Carolina-based seamstresses because I like the idea of being so close to the product. But of course, when it comes to scalability and if this idea is a success, I want to be able to produce more. So I think it might also come to looking for seamstresses outside of North Carolina, but I would like to keep it created in the US, and I still would like it to be a small production team. So scaling might be slower, but that is something I am willing to accept because I think my current customer base, since it is from my following, they're very accustomed to seeing me create the product and me hands-on sewing. And I think there would be such a disconnect if I ever completely abandoned the small model because not only are people buying the shirt for the functionality, but they are buying it for the story and the values. This customer values slow fashion, sustainable fashion, and handcrafted items. So in terms of scalability, I think I would continue to look for seamstresses, possibly like one day having our own studio space in addition to outsourcing them in their own studio spaces. But I think either continuing to look throughout the US for sustainable production groups, but still keeping hands-on with the product.
If you bring the attention to this market segment, what is your thought that a Zara or an H&M would not reproduce this, and what's your competitive advantage over the long term?
I think our biggest competitive advantage is the customization in terms of sizes. I think that's why there isn't a product like this on the market, because with having 36 combinations and a desire to continue to grow those combinations, I think it is hard for a producer to know how many of each of those sizes to fulfill. But when you have a smaller scale company, if only one person is ordering a D cup with a 30-inch waist, but 10 are ordering E-cups with a 40-inch waist, we're able to accommodate that. And I think mass production would have challenges because there would be like fulfillment requirements of how much of each size they would produce, and it wouldn't be able to be as customizable. So while I think like certain concepts could be replicatable, I think others would be impossible to do on a large mass production scale.
Touch on your social media. You mentioned how many followers. Where are you getting the most traction? Do you have any idea which platforms work the best, and any idea why?
On Instagram, I find that longer form videos perform well, particularly ones where I am sewing, I'm walking through a project, I'm explaining vocabulary that interests people with me being a fashion student. And then on TikTok, it's the shorter form videos that are 3 to 5 seconds showing a piece of fabric and then the shirt. And I think both of those concepts I can then bring into making a business, and not only just having as a way to document my fashion school journey. I think both of those will translate well. I can make videos about the business progressing and showing me making the product, which I know from my algorithm data on Instagram that those will perform well there. And whereas on TikTok, I could show quick clip of the fabric we're using, and then quick clip of all the models, a lineup of them wearing the shirt in different sizes. So I would cater the content to both pages, but also do cross-posting.
I see you on the Wilson Textile School. Which one is you on Instagram? What's your tag?
Designer Lainey Volz.
Designer.
Finally, our last startup for the night is tackling fast fashion on college campuses. Think of it as a sharing economy for outfits you only need once, or for that very specific event everyone seems to care about. Welcome to the stage, Campus Closet with Katie Watson.
Thank you, Jeremy. How many outfits do you have sitting in the back of your closet right now that you bought specifically for one event and never wore again? On college campuses, we're constantly dressing for something. Formals, game days, date parties, interviews. Research shows the average student attends a dozen apparel-focused events each year. And for many of these occasions, we'll spend a pretty penny on something brand new from the store, wear it for just a couple hours, and then it just sits there. But what if I told you these outfits didn't have to go to waste? What if there was a way for students to profit off the clothes they already own while giving others a chance to wear something new? Hi, I'm Katie Watson, and I'm the founder of Campus Closet, the first ever mobile app designed specifically for college campuses to facilitate peer-to-peer garment renting. Before I built this technology, I wanted to test that students would actually use it. So when I got to campus last semester, I built a test model here on Instagram. I sourced an inventory of over 200 rentable dresses from my own closet and other students who wanted in. And in just 6 months, we were able to do over $6,000 in rental transactions. Our Instagram grew to over 2,000 followers without any paid advertising, a website, or any platform to support it. So what this taught me was simple. Students are already sharing their wardrobes. What's missing is a platform that's easy and scalable. So that's why I invented Campus Closet, and here's how it works. Students will download the app and log in using their university email address. From there, it looks just like your typical online shopping experience. You can browse by style or size and find something just right for your event. Students can even search for specific categories like business or vacation to find exactly what they're looking for. And when they're ready, they can book directly through the app, process their payment securely, and find a mutually convenient place on campus to exchange the item. Students gain access to hundreds of already purchased pieces all through the touch of their phone. So this way, they're not buying a new outfit for every event. Instead, they're doing something way more sustainable and better for our environment. And because let's be real, girls hate to rewear the same outfit twice. And on the flip side, Campus Closet gives busy and honestly broke college students a way to earn passive income through the clothes they already own. All they have to do is upload a picture, set the pricing, and mark the availability directly through the app. From there, they can manage their bookings and track their earnings easily. A system that used to be manually coordinated and taken hours now just takes minutes. How Campus Closet makes money is it takes 20% commission on every rental. And without having a warehouse or any inventory to manage, it's relatively inexpensive to manage. And the market for this is huge. On average, women ages 18 to 21 spend over $1,500 a year on apparel. And there are over 20 million college students in the United States. And on a campus like NC State alone, even just a modest 5% adoption rate, which is feasible through my already done research, would generate hundreds of thousands in transactions. And scale that to just 10 universities, and Campus Closet enters multi-million-dollar territory. And while the initial launch would just focus on women's wear, it could easily expand into the menswear spaces, which makes the market even bigger. So apparel renting isn't actually a new concept. It's often actually coined the future of sustainable fashion. Apps such as Rent the Runway and Nuuly provide subscription-based models, but these cost around $100 to $200 a month. And users have to pick out their items weeks in advance. And this just isn't compatible for a college student's last-minute event culture and budget. And on the resale side, apps such as Poshmark and Depop offer sustainable practices, but they ship globally. So if you need an outfit for tomorrow, that just isn't gonna work. Campus Closet is designed specifically for its target market. It provides immediate access to clothes that are often in walking distance. No shipping delays, no expensive subscriptions, just clothes right when you need them, where you need them. So right now, Campus Closet is in the development stage with app models ready to be coded. It would need about an upfront investment of around $15,000 to take it to the App Store. And I would start just here on NC State's campus, but by 2026, I'd love to expand to additional universities. So I'm a freshman here studying fashion textile management and business entrepreneurship. So I'm building this alongside my studies. I'm part of the ecosystem that's driving the shift, and I can promise you this is the future of fashion. The market is ready and the behavior has been proven. What's next is whoever builds it first. So let's make that campus closet. Thank you.
So this is more of an exchange than something like Newly or Rent the Runway.
Yes, exactly. It's not going to be a system that holds the inventory. Instead, think of it more like a Poshmark or a Facebook marketplace, an eBay type system where users can individually post their items and then they would exchange it or swap with other students. And while it'll initially focus on just clothing renting for like one-time clothing rentals, let's say you need a dress for this weekend, you would rent it for 4 days and give it back. One day I do see it expanding to purchasing too. Like if you wanted to just do a closet clean out, you could do that, post it, and then connect to other students in your university.
Long time since I was in college, but occasionally at an event like this, you would spill something on an outfit or anything like that. Do you have an insurance component?
Absolutely, that's a great question, and something I actually did test through the Instagram model. And how I made sure that worked is before a renter would pay for their item, I would make sure they agreed to our terms and conditions. And what that looked like was minor damages, they would just cover the cost to repair. If for some reason it was completely damaged, they would cover the retail cost. Thankfully, in 6 months, I've never had incidents where that would happen, but I know that is realistic for when the app is developed. So that's when I would just, again, make sure that any renters are checking off those liabilities, making sure that they understand that they may be liable for that entire cost of the item in case they do ruin it.
Are you familiar with an app called RAID, R-A-I-D-E?
Like, is it online?
It's a very similar. I'm wondering how you're different from RAID. I have young daughters who use it.
Yeah. So there are marketplaces that are out there that do exist that are connecting used items or even rental services. What doesn't exist is a campus model. So this would specifically connect people all in the same university just through putting in your email address domain. And one day I think it could also connect, like we have like Meredith down the street, or maybe connect all of the Triangle area schools. But that's kind of what makes it something that hasn't really been done and new to the market.
It's a great idea. I'm a real Rent the Runway fan. And one thing I really appreciate is I know how clean it is when it comes. So I'm just interested how you're integrating cleanliness and into the protocols if you're a user.
Yeah, so dry cleaning is a big part of it, because if we're talking about $500 gowns, obviously there needs to be some sort of system in place. So what I plan to do for that is have dry clean included, dry clean preferred. So let's say if something does need to be professionally washed, like I just have some dresses on my account that are just like a cotton thing that can go in the washing machine, but something that would need to be professionally clean, the renter or the clothing owner would make sure to put that, specify that in the post, just so like you know what you're signing up for and they're not mad. Let's say you bring it back washed or not washed. And that's something I kind of had to test and figure out all of the nitty-gritty through my Instagram model.
So the app and the technology is going to be ongoing. I can promise you. You're going to need money for other things. Have you thought about, I mean, we're at NC State. There's a lot of technology here and application developers. Consider partnering with other kids that are entrepreneurs, for example, in app construction?
It's a great question. I have, and I've reached out to the NC State App Development Club. They take on different projects each semester because I think it would be super cool to have this app developed by a student themselves alongside me as like a co-founder. The thing is, this technology has already been built. It's more replicating it and paying for all the different things like Stripe, the payment method. So in terms of the funding, that would be something I would just need to source, and then I realistically would hire someone offshore, overseas, just because that seems to be a little bit more in my budget, is what I found. And then I would just work really closely with them to build it exactly how I like, give them examples of things that kind of exist, like Depop or Rent the Runway, and kind of just make sure that's exactly what I want it to look like in the end. But the App Development Club would be cool if they accept my offer.
Hey, what's the process with payment in the event that the item that you rent doesn't fit?
So a lot of times with these rental models, there is a no refunds policy. That's how at least I've done it in my Instagram app. But one thing I will do just to kind of establish good customer service is, let's say it didn't work out, I'll tell them that they could get a discount on their next item, or maybe if if someone has like 5 dresses on their account, maybe they could swap it out for something else if the original one doesn't fit. But that's just kind of something you sign up for with one-time rental policies, the chance that it might not fit. And I always also say, if you want to lend it to your friend, they could also wear it for the weekend. And I think you could also maybe get a use out of it that way.
Congratulations to all of our finalists. Can I get one big round of applause for all 10 of our presenting finalists? Chancellor Howell wasn't lying. None of us are envious of you 5 up front who have the difficult decision. So I'm going to invite our judges to step back to the deliberation room where they'll talk it out. From here, we have a great opportunity. I pointed out everyone is a judge. So while these 5 are going to go back to the back room, we have a QR code coming up on the screen here in a second. But if you don't have the QR code, it is on your booklet. It is also for those digitally coming through. You can go ahead and start your voting process. While that happens, I'm pleased to announce that last year's inaugural Pitch to the Pack winner, Reed Barnett, is here. He's going to give a little bit of a keynote address on how his entrepreneurial journey and Pitch to the Pack influenced him in growing his company, Ceratune. Please welcome Reed to the stage.
This is a very short podium for me. Is the microphone good? Okay, great. So, like I said, my name is Reed Barnett. I'm the founder and CEO of Ceratune LLC, where we're in the business of turning pollution into possibility. I'm also the winner of last year's Pitch to the Pack Challenge, the inaugural one. And for the next 30 minutes, I get to say I'm the only first place winner. I'm gonna milk that one. For the next 30 minutes, I get to milk that. But soon, one of the people that's sitting over there is going to join me as being the other winner. I remember sitting over there. Our table was over there last time, so they're changing everything. But I know what you're feeling. It's a lot of fear and dread. But this is not a finish line. The journey doesn't end here today. And I'm going to talk about my journey. I'm going to talk about hopefully how it relates to what you guys are doing, and hopefully give you guys a preview of what's going to come, what comes after today. For all of y'all who were never a competitor in this competition, all you people that are supporting, we really appreciate it. You help make a lot of this possible. And to run back through what a lot of this means, everyone who's sitting over there has achieved something great just being here. We mentioned 44 people applied, only 10 people are sitting in this room with us today. A lot of great ideas are not in this room. The first step is to have passion and to have a dream, which is something that everyone should have, but not everyone exercises. And the first step in this process is about 2 to 3 months of really intensive study and planning, trying to put legs to that dream, to that idea, to help it stand on its own. You can have the most amazing, incredible, beautiful invention, the greatest fashion design, the greatest whatever you want to do, but if no one's going to buy it, if no one can get to it, if you can't get it to them if they do buy it, then it's not going to solve any problem, and you're not going to achieve what you set out to do. So that's the first step, figuring out what can we charge, what can we do, how can we do it, how can we do it as well as possible to get to where we want to be. From there, you reach today, the present. You've seen all these amazing presentations. I do not envy the judges whatsoever. They have a very difficult job ahead of them. But like I said, this is not a finish line. This is just a stepping stone. For those of you who win funding opportunities, the next step for you is to figure out how are you going to spend it. For me, my thought process was I want to invest back into what I'm doing. What am I going to need a year from now, 2 years from now, a month from now? that is going to keep me from being able to go to market, that's going to keep me from being able to fulfill a promise that I've made to one of my customers or manufacturer. Through my awards, I think I spent it on three things. I spent on a trial run with the Nonwovens Institute. We made some demonstration material. We validated some of our ideas, we disproved some other ones, and we have something now that we can show to people and show them what we're trying to do, let them put their hands on it and get an idea. The other things we got were some scuba gear. Yes, I'm planning on doing some underwater installation, and I don't like drowning. I can hold my breath for a good long while, but not that long. And we also got a hydroseeder, which is a key component of our operation that allows us to seed these islands or seed our technology at large scales very quickly, very easily, very efficiently. And it's something that we've been putting off because we didn't know when we'd need it. We didn't know how expensive it would be when we got to it. But through this opportunity, we were able to build that foundation that we need. And hopefully, we should be getting some customers pretty soon. We've started moving towards going to market. We have some customers lined up. We have some that are interested, some that we're talking to. I've found that in anything with agriculture or anything in the water space, no one does any work from January through February. None at all. And so I've been sitting on pins and needles for the last 2 months. This opportunity through Pitch the Pack is incredible. The investment in entrepreneurship and innovation here at NC State is incredibly valuable. These people sitting over here at this table, they're the ones that are going to build the next great company. They're the ones that are going to be investors and donors and supporting the next generation of students. It's a cycle that feeds itself. It's a positive feedback loop. And it's important that we nurture that. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And for this, $1 donated to a small business can have far-reaching impacts. I will also offer some advice to the competitors today. There is only one person who matters in your venture, and that's you. As long as you believe, as long as you keep fighting, as long as you keep your dream alive, then you can be successful. Not everyone's going to win. Not everyone's going to even podium. It's your job, if you don't, to prove the judges wrong. And if you do, it's your job to prove them right. From today, it is your responsibility to show the world why here at NC State we're the best, why your companies are the best, and why you were chosen to be in this cohort this year. So, I know I have run a little short, but I will end it here. We've listened to a lot of people talking. I want to give your ears a bit of a break, which is uncharacteristic for me, I will say. But I'll end it here with Go Pack.
Thank you, Reed. You can see that's a powerful speaker and how he got first place last year. Now, we're going to take a quick break, bio break, while all the judges deliberate. If you have not scanned the code at home or in person, please go ahead and vote. We will be back at 5:20 for the award ceremony. Thank you. All right, everybody. We are at the exciting part of the evening where we're ready to announce our awards. If you can give us a second, take your seats. All right. So, before we jump into awards, can I hear one more time for all of our incredible pitches and finalists? One more time for our fantastic judges. Thank you. And one more time for the Wells Fargo team for all that you did to make this possible. Woo! With that, I would like to invite Dean Hinks and Clarence McDonald back up to the stage as we give away our awards. We're going to start with our award order with our Audience Choice Awards. So thank you to everyone who voted at home and in person for being part of this. Each Audience Choice Award will receive a $1,000 award along with a wonderful little plaque you will see. So, all right, I'll have you step up here. Let's have you first, and then we'll get the wolves next to me. Perfect. All right. So first up, we are going to announce our most sustainable goes to Somni. Congratulations. We'll do a quick photo op, and then we'll continue. All right. Thank you. All right, one more time for Somni. Next up, we have most practical Vetband. Most innovative, up until 5. Best presenter, Campus Closet. And for our final Community Choice Award, Best Community Impact, Ruck Sox. All right, and once again, thank you to our judges for your deliberation and coming back. We are now going into our 5th place. This is a $4,000 award, and this company is eligible to join the Andrews Launch Accelerator, which is up to a $10,000 value. With that, our 5th place is Button Cup. Fourth place with a $5,500 award goes to Nicelle. Our third place award today, with a cash prize of $6,500, goes to Hone. Second place, with $8,000, goes to Halftime Stitches. Earlier today, I mentioned that one of our other benefits of the Judged Awards that goes to the eligible team is a $2,500 co-working membership for the first class at the First Flight Venture Center. So I'd like to invite Ashley Davis to join us on stage. Thank you to First Flight Venture Center. And our first place winner is eligible for both the First Flight Venture Centers and the Andrews Launch Accelerator, combined for a $12,500 value, along with, on top of that, the first place winning of $10,000. Our first place winner is Verdia. Fit in there, Zach. All right. BJ, I'm one step behind you. While we get that teed up, just one more time for all of our fantastic finalists. Thank you to everyone. With that, as we've all seen today, pitch competitions are a jumpstart. As Reed shared, this is an incredible opportunity, but I think he put it very well by saying this is just the starting line, not the finish line, regardless of where you're at in your journey. And so I invite everyone in this room and online, if you would like to contribute to the Textiles Pitch to the Pack Support Fund, even $1 goes a long way. It will reinvest and make so much impact as these lives continue to evolve, these companies continue to create impacts and jobs in their local communities. So we appreciate the support at every individual level. I see everyone pulling their phones out. Thank you. To support this. So this brand new fund will be used to support entrepreneurial activities at Wilson College of Textiles, provide awards to student innovators, bolster professional development opportunities, fund the materials needed for research, and support all types of other programs. This fund is critical in keeping events like this, a fantastic event like Pitch to the Pack, to students, alumni, staff, faculty, friends of the college, free to participate in with all the incredible value that comes with it. So for anyone interested, scan up here, or if you would like to find Michael Ward or Jacqueline Hodge, let me get Michael and Jacqueline to stand up. We know Michael, but find Jacqueline and talk to her about how you can stand up and sort of support these incredible initiatives. So with that, I just want to say thank you again for the opportunity to be the MC. I love these types of events. It is filled with so much innovation, so much fun. We had incredible pitches from all sorts of diverse backgrounds. I think to see people that are staff, to see people in and out of the university, to see people that are really building products for themselves in the community is so inspiring. As someone who has built multiple ventures, I am fired up coming out of this on a Friday night. So thank you to everybody. And again, kudos to you. With that, I'm going to hand it back to our fantastic Dean Hinks to wrap us up today.
Please join me one more time in thanking Jeremy for being a great MC. Really appreciate you. Really proud of you. When he was MC last year, I thought he was so good, I thought we're not going to be able to afford him next year. He's going to be off on doing some TV shows and stuff like that. Great job. What a great afternoon. You know, we've enjoyed a few hours together and heard some incredible creativity and some incredible pitches from the finalists. It makes me so very proud. Regardless of where you're coming from and your journey and where you're going, I hope this has been a signature moment for you and it helps you in your journey in some very significant way. Regardless of where you came in the finalist order, there are people in this room that are here to support you and want to mentor you and coach you and provide you ways to be successful. And I hope you learn and meet some people that are really going to help you, and I believe you will. So thank you. You know, when we had this idea for Pitch for the Pack, we first thought about our students, and we'd seen undergraduate students starting their own businesses, and I met somebody that even before they'd had the first class out of their own business that they were working, and I thought, how does that happen as a high school kid? And we've seen this sort of developing in entrepreneurship over many years, just very organically. And so we had a conversation about supporting undergraduates with a we didn't know it was going to be called Pitch to the Pack, but something like this at the time. And then we said, well, what about graduate students? And then somebody else said, well, what about staff and faculty members? And then what about students across NC State that aren't a major in the college, but they do amazing textile entrepreneurship work? And then we thought about people, and that's what we did last year, and then we thought about people outside of NC State and even outside of North Carolina and making it wide open. And it's just, it makes me really proud that we've had such a diversity in all of its forms of people that have really done very well. Getting to the top 10 is itself a real achievement. And I just wish you all the very, very best in all of your ventures and what you decide to do next. But I can't wait to see what you do. And I hope that we'll have another event around this time next year. Another Pitch to the Pack, and this is our annual event. It couldn't be possible without Wells Fargo. Thank you for the Wells Fargo team. You've been amazing, and your trust in us is deeply meaningful. Thank you to the North Carolina Textile Foundation team. If it wasn't for the foundation board and the staff, we wouldn't have been connected to Wells Fargo, and we wouldn't be sitting here as well. So I'm very well aware of the support that's really broad that supports Wilson College. We have amazing state support at NC State from our state legislature, but it's not enough. It's not enough for us to be really able to excel and support student success, and in our case, the textile industry in North Carolina and around the world. And it's just great. It's really a privilege and inspiring to me, the amount of support that we get from our alumni and friends and partners. So thank you. Thank you for spending your precious time this afternoon. Congratulations to all of you finalists. I'm so proud of you. And stay in touch with us, and we'll see you next time. So thank you.